What is up, everyone? Welcome to the channel. For this video, we're going to be playing Madden 25, but we're not actually going to be playing. We're going to be simulating 16 games in this video, and it's going to be sort of a King of the Hill thing. As you can see here, Panthers and Chiefs are playing each other because the Panthers were the worst team in the NFL and the Chiefs are the best team. Were the best team in the NFL last season. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to simulate, each of these games, and each team that wins will advance to the second round, which will be in my part 2 video. We're just going to do the round 1 in this video. As right now, Panthers are up 10-7. See if they can maintain the lead. They do. They're still up by 3. Now they're up by 10. We'll see if they can get a huge upset here. Chiefs take the lead, but the Panthers take it right back. And just like that, we got a huge upset already. Panthers beat the Chiefs 31-28. So that means the Panthers will be advancing to round 2. And they will automatically be playing the best team since that advances to round 2, since they were the worst team. And the Chiefs are eliminated from this challenge thing I'm doing. Alright, our next game is going to be between the Commanders and the 49ers. As you can see on the screen, they actually played each other last year. As Commanders' second worst team, 49ers' second best team, I think you can get what I'm doing here. As right now, 49ers up by 18. We'll see if they can maintain the lead. And now they're up by 27, as the Commanders aren't really showing much fight here. As it looks like the 49ers will not be upset in this one, as they win this one 40-3. So that means that 49ers-Panthers will be the next matchup, since the 49ers are the best team and the Panthers are the worst team to make it to the next round. So I guess we already got that decided. Alright, our next game is going to be between the Patriots and the Ravens. And we'll see what happens here. Patriots, they got Drake May in the draft, but it doesn't look like he's going to start week 1. And the Ravens got Derrick Henry. Those are their two biggest notable signings. And the Patriots also got rid of Bill Belichick, so we'll have to see how this team looks under a new head coach. As right now, the Ravens are up by 11. And they will remain up by 11 and get themselves a victory, as this will be the second, pretty much cutthroat, dry result there. Because, I don't think anyone expected the Patriots to beat the Ravens. And, Ravens advance the next round. And our next matchup's going to be between the Cardinals and the Lions. Lions able to surprise a lot of people last season, make it all the way to the NFC Championship. Cardinals didn't have a great season. They did get Marvin Harrison Jr. in the draft, though, so he could be really good for them. And we'll see who wins this matchup, as the Lions are up by, now they're up by 7. They were up by 14. Now they're up by 14. Cardinals able to tie it up. It goes to overtime. And the Lions are able to win, but little concerning that it went all the way to overtime with the Cardinals, considering how bad the Cardinals were last season. I'm sure they'll be better, but definitely not what you want to see if you're a Lions fan. At least they won, so you can't be too upset that they will advance the next round. Alright, our next matchup's going to be between the Chargers and Bills. And these teams did play each other. Bills winning that one 24-22. And the Bills lost Stephon Diggs in the offseason, and the Chargers were able to get head coach Jim Harbaugh to be their new head coach. So that should be good for them. They did lose Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, though, so that's not very promising in that aspect. So both these teams have worse rosters than last season, and the Chargers are able to come up with a victory 34-14, as this is our second upset so far in this video, and the Bills and Chiefs are no longer in this video. It's a bit surprising when I started this up. Chargers will advance. Our next matchup's between the Giants and the Texans. And let's see, the Giants lost Saquon Barkley during the offseason. And the Texans able to get Stephon Diggs from the Bills in the offseason, and Danielle Hunter, Joe Mixon, a lot of guys that are going to make their team that much better. And, I mean, no surprise here that the Texans are up by 14. Giants are crawling back, though. Well, at least they were crawling back. We'll see what happens here. They're tied up. Texans retake the lead, and they hang on as they're able to, with their newly vamped roster, win this game 42-35. As, man, oh man, that was another close one. Kind of like that Lions-Chargers one. Not Lions-Chargers, Lions-Cardinals one, where it was a lot closer than it probably should have been. But they still win. Our next matchup's between the Titans and Bucks. And we'll see what happens here. Titans had a disappointing season last season. They went 6-11 and missed the playoffs. And the Bucks are able to win their division with a 9-8 record. And the Bucks were able to re-sign Baker Mayfield and re-sign Mike Evans. And the Titans lost Derrick Henry, so they didn't have the best offseason. The Bucks able to beat the Titans in real life, as in Madden, 20-6. Titans signed a bunch of free agents, though, so maybe that makes up for losing Derrick Henry. Alright, our next game's between the Falcons and Packers, and these teams played each other in week 2, and the Falcons won that one 25-24, and the Packers able to go 9-8 and win a playoff game as a 7 seed for the first time in NFL history, and they were able to retain most of their guys. They re-signed Jordan Love to a big contract. And the Falcons able to get Kirk Cousins in free agency, and they drafted Michael Penix Jr. as well. And it looks like the Packers win this one 35-21 as they will advance. I mean, I think this would be a close game in real life, considering the Falcons got a lot better than they were last season. So I guess it's not a blowout or anything, but definitely not like a close game or anything like that. Okay, our next game's between the Bears and the Cowboys. Bears are the talk of the offseason, like I feel like they always are. They got Caleb Williams, they got Keenan Allen. Let's see, they have DJ Moore, so they have a really good wide receiver core. They got DeAndre Swift. Cowboys didn't do a whole lot in free agency. They were able to get Zeke back, but he's not very good anymore. They signed Dalvin Cook to their practice squad, but he's also not very good. But the Cowboys are able to win this one 27-16, as no real shocker here. I mean, they have a way more talented roster than the Bears, even though they got worse and the Bears got better. I still feel like this would happen, and I mean, they did make the playoffs last year as a 2 seed for a reason, and that shows. Alright, our next matchup's between the Jets and the Browns. In week 17, they played each other, and the Browns won 37-20. And yeah, both these teams look a lot different because the Jets have Aaron Rodgers this season, assuming he stays healthy, and the Browns, assuming Deshaun Watson stays healthy, will have him, opposed to Joe Flacco and Zach Wilson, or whoever was starting for the Jets last season, because it wasn't Aaron Rodgers. But hopefully it's Aaron Rodgers this year. Hopefully he doesn't have season-ending injury in week 1. As right now, Jets are up 28-14. Browns score, but Jets are able to run up the clock and win this one 28-21. And I guess you could technically say this is an upset, but I mean, I don't think it's that much of an upset, considering that the Jets got a lot better in the offseason just by having Aaron Rodgers. They also got Mike Williams, too, and the Browns got worse. Alright, Vikings-Eagles, they played in week 2. Eagles won that one 34-28, and we'll see what happens in this one. As the Eagles are up 7-3, Vikings take the lead by 3 with the touchdown. Eagles take it back, and then the Vikings, they are able to get a field goal, but they're still down by 1. Eagles kick a field goal to extend their lead by 3, and Eagles score again to really widen the score, and it looks like the Eagles will win this one 24-16, as this is probably one of the least surprising ones. Eagles got Saquon Barkley and they had a loaded roster before that. And the Vikings, you know, they lost Kirk Cousins in free agency, and they lost J.J. McCarthy too, so definitely not a favorable matchup there. Dolphins-Broncos, definitely not a favorable matchup. Dolphins beat the Broncos 70-20 in Week 3. And let's see what happened. The Dolphins, they lost some pieces, and they got worse, but, I mean, they're playing the Broncos, and they also got worse. Broncos lost Russell Wilson. They have a rookie quarterback, Bo Nix, starting for them. And, I mean, I'm not saying Bo Nix sucks, but you know how Madden is with rookie quarterbacks. Or if you don't know, they really like to shaft them. They don't give them good ratings or anything like that. So not a surprising outcome here. Dolphins win this one 14-6. I am a little surprised it wasn't higher scoring, but, you know, we still lost, and the Broncos still lost. I'm a Broncos fan. And no shocker there. Raiders and Steelers are next. Steelers won in real life 23-18 in Week 3 of 2023. And we'll see what Madden thinks about this one, as the Raiders and Steelers have quite a rivalry brewing up since, you know, they've been playing each other since the beginning of the NFL. They've got a bunch of historical games and all that. And let's see, the Steelers got Russell Wilson and Justin Fields to be their new quarterbacks. Raiders got Christian Wilkins from the Dolphins, and they also got Gardner Minshew to be their quarterback. But as shown in Madden, it was not enough to beat the Steelers, as the Steelers win this one 36-21. And, yeah, I mean, that's about what I expected. I could see the Raiders winning this, but, I mean, I really don't think the Steelers are going to lose to a team like the Raiders, as the Russell Wilson had a passing touchdown there. And our next game is going to be between the Rams and Saints. They played each other in real life. Rams won that one 30-22. And let's see, the Rams, they were able to retain most of their roster. They got Tre'Davious White in free agency, so that should help them out a lot on defense. They did lose Aaron Donald, and they were able to try and nullify that by getting Jared Verse in the draft. Saints didn't really do a whole lot. They got Chase Young, but, I mean, other than that, they didn't do really much. They got Spencer Rattler in the draft, but, I mean, he's a rookie. And the Rams able to win this one 20-17. Not a real shocker here, as I think the Rams are a better team than the Saints. And they were the home team, as they will advance in this challenge. And our second to final game is going to be between the Colts and the Bengals. Bengals able to win this one 34-14 in real life. I guess I always forget to specify that. But yeah, that was real life. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen yet, as the Bengals and Colts are fighting now for the next round 2 spot. As Bengals up by 1, now they're up by 8. We'll see if the Colts can stay competitive in this. Still up by 8. Colts able to tie it up, and the game is actually in overtime. And it looks like the Bengals will be the team to get a victory in this one, as they will advance to the next round. And yeah, Colts go home, Bengals able to advance. And I mean, this is a lot different from their previous matchup, because assuming that Richardson and Burrow stay healthy, they'll have their 2 starting quarterbacks. They didn't have them last season. And our final matchup in this part 1 video is going to be between the Seahawks and Jags. Let's see, neither of these teams made the playoffs, so this is the second matchup in this video so far where neither team was a playoff team last year, as the Colts and Bengals didn't make it either. And let's see, the Seahawks, they got Sam Howell, and the Jags, they were able to sign Trevor Lawrence to a big contract. And the Seahawks able to win this one 31-28. And I mean, the Seahawks, I mean, they got Sam Howell, but I'm pretty sure Geno Smith is the starter. I'm not sure. I'm assuming he'll show up in the end screen here. I mean, it looks like Sam Howell threw a little bit, but there's no way he started if he only had 32 yards. The second round of our King of the Hill series, and in case you're watching this for the first time, basically, I put every team up against each other. The best teams are playing the worst teams, and that's what they did in the first round. In the second round, these are the matchups that have, been determined since the first round has already been played. That was the part 1 video. And this is the part 2 video. This is our first round. Panthers won and the 49ers won. And this is the best team that's still in this and the worst team that's still in this. And the worst team is still in this is actually going to come up with a victory, win this one 31-17. So the Panthers will be advancing to round 3. Our next game is going to be between the Chargers and the Ravens. And these teams actually did play against each other last season. Ravens won that one 20-10 in 2023. And it looks like the Ravens are going to win this one too, as they're up 28-7, 35-7. They're just dominating this game. The Chargers stand no match in this one, as the Ravens win this one 38-14. So the Ravens will advance to round 3. And our next matchup is going to be between the Jets and the Lions. And these teams, the Jets had a disappointing season last season, hence why they're so low on the rankings, playing against one of the best teams in the Lions. They had a lot of injuries last season, notably to quarterback Aaron Rodgers, so hopefully they can stay healthy this year. Lions had a really good season, made it all the way to the NFC Championship, but they will go no further in this challenge as the Jets upset them 27-26. As the Lions will stay home and the Jets will advance to round 3. So a bit of a shocker there considering how these teams ended their last seasons. And let's see, our next matchup's between the Seahawks and the Texans. And both of these teams actually had pretty similar records. Texans went 10-7 and made the playoffs, won a playoff game. And the Seahawks just barely missed the playoffs with a 9-8 record. As right now, it's a bit of a close game. Seahawks able to tie it up. It's actually in overtime. Seahawks score a touchdown. Texans also score a touchdown. But the Seahawks are able to get a victory here and win this one 30-27 to upset the Texans and move on to round 3. And our next matchup's between the Bengals and the Bucks, and these teams actually had exact records. They both went 9-8. The difference is the Bengals went last in their division, and the Bucks won their division. And, that just shows how tough some divisions are compared to others. I mean, the AFC North's a hell of a lot tougher than the NFC South, as it looks like the Bengals are going to win this one 34-27. The Bucks were kind of rallying, but Bengals are able to make a comeback, or are able to prevent the comeback and advance to round 3. As our next matchup's going to be between the Rams and the Packers, two teams that did play each other last season. Packers won that one 20-3. We'll see if they can win this one as well. And both these teams had pretty successful seasons. They both made the playoffs as the 6 and 7 seeds in the NFC. And, I mean, they both definitely overachieved, because I definitely didn't expect either team to make the playoffs. And I digress, as the Packers win this one 21-17, as they will advance to round 3, and the Rams will be eliminated. As they did put up a fight, though, so that's good that they at least went out, trying. Alright, our next matchup's between the Steelers and the Cowboys. Two teams that made the playoffs, but they did not win any playoff games. They both were one and done in the wild card. And we'll see what the Steelers can do, because they have a way less talented roster than the Cowboys, just if you look at both teams. As it looks like it's a tie game, and the Steelers score a touchdown in overtime, but the Cowboys do as well. But eventually, the Steelers are able to hit a game-winning field goal in overtime to win this game 32-29. This is a big shocker. I definitely did not expect the Steelers to make it to round 3, but here they are. And yeah, that's surprising. All right, our next matchup's between the Dolphins and Eagles. Eagles played the Dolphins in real life, winning 31-17 last season. And the Eagles have Saquon Barkley now, and the Dolphins, they actually lost some pieces on defense. They lost Christian Wilkins on their defense. They got worse. Eagles got better. And this is definitely not a surprising result here, as the Eagles won this one 35-17 and advanced themselves to round 3. And now we are at round 3, and our first matchup's going to be between the Panthers and Ravens. And yeah, I already went over the Panthers and Ravens already because they both obviously played in round 2 and won. But yeah, I'm very shocked that the Panthers are able to make it all the way to round 3. So we'll see if they can continue their Linsanity run. Ravens up by 20. They win by 17 as they put an end to Carolina's Cinderella run. And yeah, that's no shocker there. It had to come to an end at some point. Panthers aren't very good, but they put up a fight, so props to them. Alright, our next matchup's between the Jets and Packers, and you could call this the Aaron Rodgers Bowl, the Brett Favre Bowl, whatever the hell you want to call it. But it's these two teams, and the Jets are currently up 14-0. Now they're up 21-0. As they're being a very surprising team here. They're able to advance to round 4 with the Ravens as well. And Packers are eliminated. They didn't put up much of a fight in this game, and I guess the veteran beat the inexperienced star. Alright, our next game's between the Seahawks and Eagles. Eagles lost to the Seahawks in real life 20-17 last season. We'll see what happens here. I definitely expect the Eagles to win this one, considering how stacked their roster is. And they're up by 11. Seahawks make it a 3-point game, and they almost are able to force overtime, but the Eagles are able to hang on for a tight 27-24 victory. And that will move the Eagles into round 4. Alright, our next matchup's actually between two divisional opponents, the Bengals and Steelers. Obviously, these two teams played each other twice. Steelers winning both of those games. Those will be on the screen. And, I mean, this should be a good game. I mean, they're divisional opponents, and they always play each other tough, especially considering they're in the AFC North. Steelers are up by 3, and they will win by 3 as they're able to hang on. I still have no idea how the Steelers, of all teams, are able to make it this far in the challenge, but they're defying the odds and they're moving on to the next round. Alright, our next matchup is between the Jets and the Ravens. Jets definitely a surprise here. Ravens definitely not a surprise, considering they're one of the best teams in the NFL and they've had a very easy path to this point. And the Jets putting up a fight. We'll see if they can pull one out of here. Jets were up by 5. Now they're down by 3, and they lose by 3 as this game ends with the Ravens winning 22-19. And this will end the Jets' Cinderella run, as I definitely was shocked to even see him here in the first place. Alright, our next matchup is going to be between the Pittsburgh Steelers and Philadelphia Eagles, the Pennsylvania Bowl. And right now the Eagles are up by 4. And the Steelers up by 3. And, I mean, I think the Eagles are going to win. But, I mean, the Steelers have been winning in incredible fashion for them. And they do it again as they win this one 27-14. As they just keep winning games. I mean, you can't argue with results. And they're getting them. And the Steelers will advance to the next round. And looks like our finals, this is our finals, as those last two games were our semifinals, as this will be the Ravens and Steelers, obviously divisional opponents. They played each other twice, and the score was actually 17-10 both times. As right now, it's kind of like David versus Goliath, but at the same time, they are divisional opponents, so I would not be surprised if the Steelers are able to pull this one out. But I definitely expect the Ravens to, because they're a way better team than the Steelers on paper. But when these two teams specifically play each other, you never really know. So we'll see what Madden predicts for this one. Steelers are up by 3. Ravens tie the game up. Now they're up by 7. And actually the Steelers tied up, making it go to overtime, but it looks like the Ravens scored a touchdown in overtime, and I guess the Steelers threw a pick 6 or something, because they scored like right away. And the Ravens will win this challenge. So congratulations to them. They are the winners of this King of the Hill challenge. And I can't say I'm too surprised, considering that the Ravens are a very good team, and they had, I'm not going to lie, a very easy schedule. They didn't have to play the Chiefs or the 49ers because the Panthers, of all teams, knocked them out. I mean, their first matchup was obviously easy, if you know how I was setting this up, because they played the third worst team since they were the third best team. Like, the only real challenges they had were the Steelers and maybe the Jets, but after that, other than that, you know. But a win's a win. I'm not going to discredit them that much. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.